Openbox? Who uses Openbox? It's been discontinued for a lot of years. So why would you use Openbox in 2023? The real answer is you should use Openbox in 2023, especially if you are a new user. The features that you will see in Openbox, you will see them all in tiling window managers and other advanced window managers. So let us start with the customization and see where we go from there. I have chosen Linux Mint Mate Edition to install Openbox because Linux Mint is a very user-friendly distribution. Windows users feel comfortable using it. If they want to switch to Linux, Linux Mint is the favorite to install. And why not, if you are a Windows user and you want to try Openbox, this is a good opportunity for you to see how to install it and how to get going fast with this tutorial. So first what we'll have to do is we go to the terminal, which is right here. I'll press it and I have to install some things on this system. So first we have to install Openbox and obconf, which is the Openbox configuration file, which is very well needed. Nitrogen is a background for your desktop if you want to install a background for your desktop. Tint2 is the panel if you want to, because Openbox doesn't come with a panel in the bottom, so we have to install Tint2, and also lxappearance is also for theming. So you press enter and you press your password, and I already installed them, so everything is installed now. Next thing you have to do is, before we switch to Openbox, is you go to the file manager. And in the file manager, if you see here in the file manager, you have to press Ctrl H to show the hidden files. And you go to .config. You look at .config here, directory. If you don't see an Openbox folder, you have to create it. Instead of creating it, you can use the terminal to create it. What I will do is I want to copy it from somewhere else. The somewhere else is you go here to the file system, which is the root directory. You come to the etc, which is the directory for all your configuration files, the system-wide configuration files. You press XD to go down to XDJ. You press it, and you will have here an Openbox directory. I take it, I right click, copy, and I go back here to the Mint here, .config, and I paste it. As simple as that. Now if I open it, I have an Autostart, an environment, menu.xml, and rc.xml. So all the primary stuff has been configured. Let us log into Openbox. So let me close this and I come here to log out. I log out also. Here in this display manager, you have here a button. Depending on your display manager, sometimes it is here, sometimes it is somewhere else, but here it is. You click the icon and you go for Openbox. You put the password and you press enter. And now we are in Openbox. Believe it or not, Openbox has no background, there is no panel, there is nothing. We need to customize everything now before your eyes. So what we'll have to do is you have to right click and you'll get this small menu: terminal operator, terminal emulator, web browser, applications, obconf, reconfigure, restart, and exit. What we'll have to do first, let us go to the terminal emulator. I will press Tint2. And now I have, don't close this one because it will close everything. I have now a small panel here with all these icons. This. If you don't see any icons here, what you have to do is, I made a lot of tutorials on Tint2. What you have to do is you press this button and you go to the launcher here and you pick here. I already picked
the file browser, you pick the file browser and you bring it here, and you put also, if you don't have Firefox, you can also pick it and put it here. So these will be available here for you. There's a lot of tutorials I did on 10.2, so you can also consult them in order how to make customization for 10.2. Let me close this one. So we'll open first, we'll open the browser. Here we have to go Control H. We go to .config, Openbox. In the Autostart here, let us make some changes. I put display here. So if you notice here, what they are telling us, because we took them from the system-wide configuration, it tells us to put it in the config Openbox Autostart. I already put it. These are all commented out, so nothing will start with this Autostart. But what we'll do now is we will start with, if I want to start Openbox, I need to start with 10.2. I need to put an AND. It's very important to put an and you go down. And also I want to trigger nitrogen -- restore. This is to trigger the background, changing the desktop background. And I also want to put and. I will not go more detail on many other items. I just need these two. I save it and I go out. I go out here. If you want, I can close this one, close the terminal. Because I closed the terminal, it will close everything. I'll put restart. Nothing happens, no problem. I go exit. I come back. I log in. And now I have my panel. So let me change this background here. What we'll have to do is you go to the terminal and you press nitrogen, and here in the preferences you need to go where are your background files. In Linux Mint they are all in user share background, I think. So we go to user share backgrounds. You see we have these. Let me go also Linux, let me select these. Okay, so we got all of these. Let us pick this one, apply. So we have, let me close this one. So we have this background and we have now the panel. Let us check it also again. I will have to exit. Let me exit again to check if the panel and the background will load. So we got the background and we got the panel. If you notice here, let us go to obconf. So here in the obconf, you have to make some customization. What I want to do first is in the appearance, I just want to raise the font for you so that you will see everything better. Okay. The other theming will keep them till the end. Now we only are concerned with just making sure that the menu and all the font is all right for our work. Let us continue here with the file browser, and we also Control H. We go to config. Next on the line is the menu.xml. If I double click it, this is the default menu that is available from Linux Mint Mate Edition. Just to note, we have this Openbox _ menu. This is the inside here. You will have all the menus that you created. The default is they have only one menu and a closing menu, opening tag, closing tag. If you want, you can create another menu. For example, you can create a menu here and you need to put a closing tag, and you can create a menu also here. But of course, if you want to create a menu, you should have an ID. Let's say my menu 2, and you put something inside. Why I put the ID? Because I want to reference it in a key binding. If I don't put an ID, I cannot access this menu in my Openbox environment. So here first, as I told you, every opening tag you have to have a closing tag. Even in the Openbox menu up there, you will have a closing one. If you have a menu, most probably you should have another closing menu. There is also special cases. For example, the separator. If you notice here, the separator, it has only one open and closing menu, but it has a different format: less than, slash, greater than. Another one that has only one open and closing tab is also the menu inside the menu. For example, this menu ID, which frankly it doesn't do anything because there's no command for it. And also there is another one here, menu ID equal applications menu, label applications, and it executes a certain script. But all the others, they have is opening and a closing tab. Let's say I have the item here. If you notice here, the item, less than, greater than, I have less than, slash, item. Item. Also for action, most probably if you have an action, it should have a closing action. Unless you have very special actions. Let's say I have this one, action name equal restart. It doesn't have an execute. You can have it also as one opening and a closing tag. This is the default. I like to use my another menu in order to explain things better for this menu. And this menu, I already did it for you. Let me go back to a simple menu.xml. Let me open it. This is a much simpler presentation for the menu. If you notice here, I have a menu here and I close this menu. This is all the big menu that you will have. Next on the line, as I told you, it should have an ID. It has root menu. For the label, there is no problem for the label. You can label it whatever you want. It doesn't matter how much. It's just for you to understand. If you have, let's say, 10 menus, you have to label each one in order to understand which one is which. But the main thing is the ID, because the ID is for the key bindings. Next, if you want to put, there should have an item. There are many items, or maybe a menu. So the first item, it has many parameters. So you put less than item, you put an icon equal, you put the path of the icon. For example, here I put slash path. There is no existence of slash path. You have to put slash, let's say, user slash share slash icon slash papyrus, etc., until you reach this PNG icon. The next is the label. The label is the one that you will see on the menu. For example, these are all labels: terminal, emulator, web browser, etc. So these are the ones that you see on the menu. And after that, you close the action, the item, you come to the action. What is the action if I press it? And here the action is I need to execute. And execute is execute a script. So you put an action, name is execute. You open and execute, and here I execute mate-terminal. So when I press this label, terminal emulator, it will go mate-terminal. I close the execute. I need to close also the action, and I need to close the item. The second one is the same. I have an item. It should have an icon. Maybe you don't like an icon. You don't put it. Let's say I don't want an icon for gedit. So I remove it. You can remove it. And you start with a label, let's say. So label is gedit text editor. And after the item, I close the item. I need to open an action, and the name is execute, and it executes XED. This is the text editor for Mate Linux Mate Edition. So this is for XED. Maybe for you it is gedit, because here I put gedit. Maybe it is gedit, maybe it's leafpad, maybe it's featherpad, Sublime Text, or any other text editor, or Vim, etc. The same thing here and the same thing here. So these are all execute if you want to execute. Like for example, the terminal emulator, it is an action execute. This is also an execute. For the applications which I have here, this is a menu inside a menu, which is also a pipe menu. Here I created one menu here, also the same. I put, let's say, ID equal my menu, label is battery. So here if you have the label is applications, I have created one label is battery, and it executes a script, and the location of the scripts is inside the home directory scripts battery.sh. So it executes a script, and this script will give you the menu available. The second one is the same one that you have here, the applications. We have a menu. They put the execute first. So you can put the execute first. There's no problem if you want to put ID first or the label first. As long as it is inside this menu tag, you can interchange between them. So the execute is, it executes a script, Python user bin oba menu. And the ID, this is the ID for it. The icon and the label is apps. Here if you notice, the label is applications, because this is the default one. This is my menu that I have created. So in case of my menu, it will give me apps instead of applications. And the other thing is we have separator. We have another icon, item, and the action is execute, and it will execute Openbox conf, the same. These are special ones that you will see them all the time in Openbox. We have a label reconfigure, the one that you see here, reconfigure, and the restart and the exit. The one for the reconfigure is action name is reconfigure. So directly we have an action name, an opening and a closing tag at the same time. The one for execute, it needs both. For the restart, the same. Label is restart and item is execute. If I want to see this one, how it will perform, what I will do is, let me take this one, okay, and I will put it inside the Openbox directory. I paste it. Let me rename this one. Rename it old menu. Okay, and this one I will put it as rename menu.xml. So now my menu that I have created here is now the default. I need to reconfigure. So now when I right click, notice what happens. Let me come back here and so if we notice here, terminal emulator, gedit, tuner, Firefox, I have now the battery, the apps, the obconf, reconfigure, restart, and exit. So I have created one just manually through these. Actually, you don't need to do anything manual. You can do it with a GUI. Instead of dealing with all this, I can create it with a GUI. What is the GUI? The GUI is called obmenu-qt, Openbox menu Qt. To install obmenu-qt, what we have to do is, let me go here. This is the installation for Openbox menu editor. If you notice here, the very nice looking GUI. So first, if I want to install it, I need to first install the dependency, Python 3 setup tools, Python 3 PyQt5 and Python 3-lxml. The installation, I put it on my website, so you can check how you can install them. But I will install it for you for this system, because it is a Debian and Ubuntu system. I can install these dependencies. So to install them, what we'll have to do is, you come here. I will you have to install sudo apt install python 3 setup tools, python 3-pyqt5, python 3.xml. I already installed these, so there's no problem. So these are the dependencies for this menu editor. The second is, if you want to install it on the system, you have to put sudo python setup.py install. What he means is you need to install this one. You download the zip file. I already downloaded the zip file. So what you'll have to do, I go to downloads. So this is obmenu-qt master. I already extracted here. It will be here. So what you can do is, this is the obmenu-qt.py. Run in terminal. And this is the menu that I have. If you notice here, we have the terminal emulator. What you can do is, this is terminal emulator. You can put an ID for it. There's no need. Only for menus you have to put ID. And this is for the action. You have 4 actions: the execute, the reconfigure, restart, and exit. What I like about it is you don't have to remember many things in a GUI. You have all the options. You can click any option that you want. This is the execution, and this is the icon path. Let's say I want to add an icon, /user/share. Press enter. Change icon. Mate 32 by 32 apps, and I go terminal, click open and prompt, save, and I got this one. So here you have the icon, you put this one inside and you can get it. So here it is very simple with the GUI. You can change whatever you like. Let's say I want to add another item here. Let me go here and I say I want to add another item. Let me add another item, which is the caja, the same one here for the tuner. I want to add another one. Let me add another one. New item. And this item here, I'll put a label, my item. Okay. The ID, no need for ID, and it has to execute a command, and the command is, I needed to run the file manager. So I'll put also caja. And the icon, let me add the icon, the same one for this one. This is the icon, copy, put it here, and I paste it. Okay, and I save. So now we have, this is my item, and this is the same icon as the other one. So if I right click here, I have Firefox, I have my item, and I have the others also. There's one thing I have to say, that I installed it on many systems. Now in Linux Mint, when I use this GUI, it's not installing here directly when I pick it from here. I don't know if it is a bug or only on Linux Mint, but on my other systems they are working. So if it doesn't work for you, what you can do is you can put the icon path inside here and everything will be okay for you. Let me remove the other one that I have created before. Let me go this menu, let me remove this menu, and I'll come back to the other menu. Rename menu.xml. Let me reconfigure, and we got the default one that we have. There's one thing inside, if you notice here, the applications, it directly generated all these menus. How did it generate? Let us go first to the file menu.xml and see what happens. If you notice here, there is a menu inside a menu. It is ID equal applications menu. Label is applications, the one that you saw here, applications. And it is executing a file. This file is user bin/oba menu. Let us execute it and see what happens. So if I execute this file, let me execute it. I can directly say obmenu. And if you notice, this is an Openbox pipe menu inside the menu, and all of this is the menu that is generated. To be honest, this obmenu, it is a Python script that takes all the .desktop from user applications, all these ones, and it will create this automatically, the menu. In most system, obmenu is installed. If it is not found obmenu, if it is not found on your system, you can install it. There is a GitHub page where you have this obmenu.py. Also put it on the website so that you can download it if it is not found on your system. But if it is found on your system, you directly press obmenu and it will generate all these files for you. If you notice, I don't think there is an icon here for them. Let me check first. For the applications, not all of them have icons. There is some icons for some of them. The others, they don't have icons, but it will generate icons for all of these if icons are present for your theme. If it is not present for your themes, it will not be available. So enough for the menu. This is how we create a menu. Another thing, if you notice, let's say I like this one, system reports. I will take it, I can copy it, let's say. I come here and I can paste it somewhere here. You can take from this obmenu whichever item that you want. I will save it. And notice now here, let me reconfigure. And I have now a system reports label available. So you can pick whichever one that you like and you can put it in front. So you'll have a very nice menu available for you. Okay, so enough for menus. Let us make use of some theming. So for us to have a theme, first, I don't like this color. This color is very bad, white. I don't like it. If you want to change it, you go to obconf. So here in obconf, you can change whichever color that you like for. You can choose, let's say, the onyx. So if I right click now, it will be like this. Or nightmare with a green background. Sys crash, orange. Also, it's a lovely. Onyx, I think, is the best one. Maybe it's the best one. But if you notice in this obconf manager, you can install a theme or create a theme archive. So let's say, where do we get these themes? So if I want to get a theme, you can go to box-looks.org and you come to Openbox themes. You can pick whichever theme that you like. Let's say these are the popular themes. Let's say you want Nord Openbox theme. You click it. You go to files and you download. So we download it. Okay, so it is downloaded. Let us check where it is in the downloads. This one. Extract here. So we take this one. First, what you have to do, if you click it, it should have Openbox-3 folder. If it doesn't have a Openbox-3, this means it is not a useful theme for you. What we can do is you take this Nord-Openbox, you copy it, and you come to Mint and check if there is a .themes folder. If there is no .themes folder, you create one. So here it is already created. I double click it and I paste this one here. So now when I have the Openbox here, it should be available here. Let me close it and I will open it again in order to identify it. Obconf, and this is the Nord Openbox. So it is selected. So this is how we can install a theme. There are many themes in GitHub, where many popular Openbox themes that you can use, and there is some things also that you can tweak. I will show you how. So this is the Nord Openbox. If I click it, I click here on Openbox. These are all the files. Let me make it as a list. So if you notice, we have all these images, XBM images, which is very small images, all of them XBM images, and there is the theme RC. The theme RC is the one that you can tweak. You can tweak the label background, the highlight background, the title text if you want it center or justified, and also the text color, title text color, border, separator. All of these you can tweak here. If you don't like the color, let's say for this color that is highlighted, you can change it. If you want the font to be a different color, you can change it. The separator, all of these you can change. Also you can change these XBMs. If you don't like these XBMs, which are the ones that are available here, you see these XBMs are from the Nord theme. They use this one and they use the theme RC in order to make the colors. These are colors in hex. You can change the colors. So this is how we are theming. Of course, I will show you, also give you some examples of other themes that you can use. Personally, I use the Sparky 5 theme, which is from Sparky Linux. If you want, you can install this. They have the Debian Sparky Linux distribution with Openbox, so you can also install get their theme and install it on your system. But that's how you install a theme on your system. Another theming that we will use is lxappearance, and to get lxappearance you can go to the terminal and put lxappearance, or I think you can go here to the applications, to the settings, customize look and feel. So I press it here, and if you notice here, they are using this. You can pick whichever one you like. Let's say I want to pick Mint Y Legacy Dark, or maybe this one, depending on which one you like, because we have now this one is fine. The color also, you can change the color. The icon theme, you can change whichever theme. Let's say you want to use Breeze theme, so I press OK. Mouse cursor, this is the mouse cursor that is used. You can choose whichever one you want, font, others, etc. So that's basically for the theming that is available. Of course, in obconf also there is some things you can change. For example, the appearance, as we talked about, here you can change the location. Let's say you have a Windows icon here, the Windows label IMCSD. So you can put the order here in the button order for your title. For me, I don't use the title. I remove the title completely, but this we will see it in the rc.xml. But in case you like to use the title, you can change here the button order. If you want to remove, let's say the close button, you can close it, or the minimize, you can do it from here. So this is the theme that we talked about, the appearance. We talked about the appearance. For the Windows, you have a choice, focus new windows when they appear. So if you have, let's say, many monitors or a window, when it appears, the focus will be directly on the window when you launch it. Another thing is place new windows under the mouse pointer. This is very useful under the mouse pointer. Let's say I am in this monitor and I click for an application. It will launch here in this desktop. If I go to another monitor, let's say, where the mouse is, the application will launch. So it's very useful if you have 2-3 monitors. This one is very useful. You can change between them directly where you have your mouse. So the move and resize, there is, if you want to resize, I don't really matter about them because you also can change these in rc.xml, but if you want, keep the default. For you it's better. The same thing here for the mouse. For the desktops, you can pick how many desktops that you need. Let's say you here you put 4, let's say you put 3, 2, 1, etc. And you can name them. You can name them as a, let's say 1. This is the correct one that I like to rename. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can pick any icon that you want instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, but I prefer to use 1, 2, 3, 4. For the margins, it's very important to pick one of them and increase the margin for it. Let's say for this left, I put it as 6 pixels. And why 6 pixels? Because it is very small, this 6 pixels, and it will be very useful to trigger the menu. I will show you now. The dock, there is no need for the dock. This it's an old one. You don't need the dock anymore. But for the margins, 6 pixels is enough. Why this 6 pixels? I will show you why. Let me close. So now, if let's say I will launch Firefox, we have around 6 pixels here. So now I can right click and trigger the menu. If I did not have the 6 pixels, I could not trigger the menu. If you have any window here, you directly go left and you can trigger the menu. Of course, you can trigger the menu in Tint 2 also. But now on the right, you cannot do it. On top, you cannot do it also. And down, of course, you can do it because there is this Tint 2 menu. So this is for obconf and lxappearance. Next, we will go for rc.xml and see how we can tweak it further. The last thing on our list is rc.xml. You can live without a menu in Openbox, or you can change the menu to JG menu, which Bunsen Labs and Mabox are using nowadays. But for rc.xml, you cannot change it because it is the only configuration that you will need to make Openbox more pleasant and more feature rich. So first, I want to open a minimal to explain to you how it is divided, and we go step by step on the key bindings and the other stuff that is available in the rc.xml. So first, if you notice in the rc.xml, this is a minimal one. I removed many things of it. But in all of them, they should have an Openbox config, which is all the config files for Openbox. You have a closing and an opening tag here, and of course you should have in the end, you should have also an Openbox config to close, an open tag and a close tag. That's how everything works with XML. Looking first for the resistance and the focus and the placement and the theming and the desktops and the margins and the dock. All of them, these can be configured inside the obconf. Let me open obconf. And you will see that the theme you can change it, you can get it from here. The appearance, how you like the buttons, also you can get it from here. The fonts also you can get it from here. The windows, the sizing, the mouse, the desktops you can put here. They put 4 desktops. You can change it. You can make it 5, 6, and you can name also the desktops. If you notice here, they are naming it as numbers. You can name it also as numbers or as symbols. The margin, the same thing. We talked about the margin. I kept 6 here so that you can access the menu quickly. And the dock, it's not used nowadays, but you can experiment with the dock here. So all of the things that are available first here, these can be tweaked with the obconf and lxappearance if you want to go deeper into the theming. The other thing is the keyboard. So we have an open keyboard tag and a closed keyboard tag. And if we want to put any key binding or a keyboard shortcut, you have to put a open tag and a closed tag. Let me give you an example of an open tag and a closed tag, and we'll talk about special ones. Let me open this one. For example, these are the ones that are used, mainly the shortcuts that are used in Windows. You can replicate them here in Linux as follows. So here we have a keybind, an open keybind, and inside we put key equal Alt F4. So if I press Alt F4, the action name is close. In Windows, this is how you close all applications. You press Alt F4. So we replicated it as Alt F4. If you notice, the capital A is a modifier. So we have A as Alt, C as Control, W as Super, S as Shift. W is Super, S is Shift. So we have to be careful about it. A is Alt, Tab is Tab, Escape is Escape, Full Escape. So for example, this is Alt F4. If I want to make another key binding, what I have to do to close, what you can do is you paste this one. Instead of Alt, let's say I want to put Control Q. And you save it and you reconfigure. And now when you press Control Q, it will close your application. The same as Alt F4. Whichever you use, you can close an application. The other thing is Control Alt Delete. C Control Alt Delete. In this one, it will execute a script, and the script is lx-session-logout. lx-session-logout is for LXDE. If you want to log out if you want a menu for logout, you can use lx-session-logout. If it is not available in your repo, you can install lx-session or lx-session-logout depending on your distributions. Because lx-session-logout, sometimes you have to install lx-session to get this lx-session-logout. So this is how we do it. If you want, let's say if you want to put another thing, let's say copy and paste. I want to put, let's say, Control Shift Delete, for example, and I will execute, let's say, leaf pad. So for example, now if I press Control Shift Delete, it will open leaf pad for me. So that's how you change many of the things. You use the execute most of the time because this is executes a command, or it will run, let's say, Firefox. You can run Firefox here, you put, or any other application you want to launch from there. The next one is Super D. Super D is used by Windows to toggle and show desktop. It will close everything. It will show only the desktop like this. So whenever you press Win D, it will directly toggle show desktop. The other thing is Super R. It will also execute in Windows, it executes a command. Here I use Drophy, so you can open with Drophy, so you can execute any of the applications that you want to run. Of course, you have to install Drophy because it is not installed by default in Linux Mint. The next one, Super E. Super E is used for a file browser in Windows. You can use Tunar. Super Shift Escape in Windows, it will open the task manager. I installed LX Task. This is also a good task manager. Alt Tab, Alt Shift Tab also for next window. If you notice this one, XF86 Mount Brightness Up. This is the buttons, the extra buttons that sometimes you see next to the F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. These are by default the ones that if you want to make brightness up and down, you can use these. So they are not configured in Linux. In most distributions, they are not configured. So you need to configure them here. But the problem is you put the key. This is the key for brightness up, and you need to load a script so that it will make the brightness up. You can Google the brightness to show how you can have a script in order to make brightness up, or you can use ChatGPT. ChatGPT has proved to be very powerful in these, so you can research that and you put the script so that you can have brightness up and down. For raise volume, there are two methods, if you have ALSA or if you have pulse audio. So this is for the raise button and the lower button and the mute. You can use pulse audio CTL. This one, if it's not installed, you have to install pulse audio and to install this to have this one available. So whenever I press this one, it will execute pulse audio, etc., etc., and it will increment it by 5%. The lower volume, it will lower it by 5%, and the other one, it will toggle in and out for the mute. The next thing is the calculator. I put also name as execute calculator. If you don't like it, let's say you want to add another one, let me add another one for you also so that you can see. If I want another one to add a calculator, let's say I want, let me add, let's say for example, Super O, for example, and I save it. So whenever I press Super O, it will also toggle the calculator. Or you can use this one if you have a button for the calculator and you want to use this one, you can use this one. The last two is also used for Windows. This one also is for tiling. This is a pseudo tiling. For example, if I press super left, it will make a half screen. This screen, it will make it half to this point. And the other one, super right, it will make it to the right side. And the command is 0, 0. It starts from 0, 0. It starts from here, 0, 0. The width is 50%. This is the width at 50%. And the height is 100. The other one, it is minus 0. So it starts from here, top right, and you go 50%, etc. If you don't like the 50%, you want to make it 70. So it will be here 70%. And this one, if you want, you can make it 30%. It will be like this. What I mean is the following. You can, let's say for example, let me copy these and paste. So what you can do is, let's say when shift left, for example, and when shift right. So for example, if I press when shift left, it will be 70%. And the other one is 30%. So if you like a screen that should be 70% like this and 30% like this, the one that I use in this case is Telegram. I always like Telegram to be here 30% and the other is 70%. So you can use Win Shift Left to make the window 3/4 or 70% and the other one 30%. The two windows. This is a pseudo tiling and it is useful for your work. Or if you want to make more use of tiling, you can use Zentile, which I explained in some videos. I will also give you a link on Zentiles that you can use outside this configuration. The next things you can do is you can, if you want to access a menu, if you notice here, Super M action name is show menu. So we have an action show menu and you put the ID of the menu, my menu, and you close it. So this one, it will show a menu. And if you notice before, let me show where in the simple menu here, which we created, the menu ID is my menu, label is battery, execute, it will execute a script. This is a pipe menu. There are a lot of pipe menus also available online. You can check them. So if you want to access a pipe menu or any menu, you can trigger it with the ID my menu. Same as when you want a menu, root menu to show, instead of right clicking and getting this one, if you want another key binding, you can also use this. For example, let me go back to the key binding. For example, here I can copy here this one. I will paste. Let's say I want to Win Shift M or Win Alt M, let's say. If I press Super Alt M, it will show menu and the menu is root dash menu. So now if I save it and reconfigure, if you save it and you reconfigure, this means whenever I press Super Alt M, it will show me the root menu, same as I right click here on this side. So it's also useful for you. The last thing which I see also useful, because this one is using Tint2, is I always use Super B to auto hide the Tint2. What this command does is it's a bash script. It uses sed and it enters the config tint2 rc, which is the configuration file of Tint2. It changes in the text file for Tint2 so that it will make it auto hide. So whenever you press Super B, it will auto hide it. Super B again, it will show it again. Very neat, very simple, and it is very nice key binding to use. So these are the key bindings. You see how simple it is to add on key bindings. If you want to make an execute, you can use execute. If you want a show menu, you can use a show menu, unmaximize, next window, previous window, and also if you want to close, you can use this part. And of course, you have to use it inside the keyboard. Keyboard here, keyboard. So all the key binds will be between keyboard and keyboard. The mouse bindings, they should be included inside the mouse. But you have to be very careful here where to include the mouse, because there is, let's say, context name frame. So inside the frame, you have to key bind. There's a lot of configuration you have to use. Most likely I use the frame. I don't use the title bar, but you can tweak it as much as you like. This is the top right corner, bottom right corner, the client, the icon. If you have an icon in the title bar, you can tweak the icon. Let's say if you right click the icon, left click the icon, control click the icon, all of them you can tweak them inside here, the context name, the icon. The same for all desktops, shade, iconify, maximize, close, and the ones that I always use is the desktop or the root. This is the one that is available, let's say here in the root. You can make many changes and we'll look into them. The ones that most probably you will use is the frame. So inside the frame here, this is a frame. You can make a command for the mouse binding. Let's say not only the control, which is because the control is the default for any application. Let's say you press Control Shift right click, you can make it, and I will show you how we can make this mouse bindings for each one. Let me show you first here, because we are still here, a context name for the root. When I right click on this desktop, it will open this one. We can change it, by the way. We don't need to make it right click. Maybe we left click or middle click or any click that you want in order to open this menu. Or you like two menus to be put, the root menu and another menu. If I press, let's say, control right click. So how we change them? You know that inside the context menu, context name root, here you notice mouse bind button is right. So when we talk about mouse bind, the button is right, is the right click button. If I press the right click button, show menu, root dash menu. So that's how you can change it. If you don't like the right click, you can put here, instead of right, left, and show menu, root menu. You can do it. Or let's say, for example, let me show you another thing what you can do. If you press here, if you put here left, this means when you left click here, or when you right click here, when you left click or you right click, it will show the menu. Of course here, this is not the default one that we are working in. The default one is in rc.xml. This is a special file. So if you do this and you reconfigure or you restart, whenever you left click or right click on the root menu, it will show this button. Very simple, very easy. Or you can remove the right click whatsoever, so you will have only on when you left click. Another thing to talk about in the mouse binding is the buttons. if you notice here, for example, this is in the root. I press Alt down, Alt up. What does up mean? What does down mean? Of course, we know what left and right. We have to look at the X11 symbols for that. So let me show you where they are. I think it's here. So for example, I have the context name is frame. So if you are inside a frame here and you want to make a mouse binding, if you press Control middle and you press it, Control middle press, there is press or click, and there is drag, and there is also double click. So you have to choose between what you want to do. For example, Control middle, action press, action name is show menu. It will show the root menu inside the frame. So inside the frame, if you press Control middle, it will show the menu. This is what you can do. If you press Control middle, for example, here it is outside the frame, it will not do anything. So this is how customizable it is, the Openbox window manager. For X11, these are the default configuration. The left button is 1, or you can call it left, as we see here. This is not to be confused with the left in the arrow. So whenever you have a left on the key binding, it is the left arrow, and here in the mouse binding, the left is the button 1. If you want to remove the confusion, you can write capital B or button 1 instead of this left. So for example, we have 1 for left button, 2 for middle button, 3 for right button. For the scroll wheel, if I put it as up, it will be up. So here, instead of left, I can put up, and this will tell me that it is button 4 or the wheel up. And whenever we have a down here, meaning it is the down button for the wheel. For the 6 and 7, this is not the left and right, because of course the left and right are 1 and 3. Here you have to put button 6 and button 7, and here we have also button 8 and button 9. Button 8 is in a mouse, sometimes there's 2 buttons on the left side, which are not in standard mouse, but they can be used. They used for backward and forward button. You can use these also in another thing, like I did here in this example. For example, if I am in a frame, let's say I want to select this one, and let's say I want to copy or paste. If you have this button inside the frame, what you can say is, if you press button 9, which is the forward or the backward, doesn't matter, the button 9, it will execute X do tool key Control C. For those who don't know, this command will perform Control C. So instead, when you press this button, it will make Control C, and the other one, if you press it, it will make Control V. If you don't have X do tool, you can install it. It's very simple. It's available in all distributions. So there's no problem with X do tool if it is not available. So we've transformed button 8 and button 9 into Control C and Control V. The other thing also you can see is, for example, Control left. So if you have this frame, it is very useful to have Control left. If you put Control and left button and you drag it, you can move the window. It's very useful, this one, and also I put it in the frame, so if you want to use it also. So basically what this is about, the mouse binding. It started with the mouse here. Here there's some parameters for the mouse. You identify the context. If you want it in the name, in the title bar, top, left, right, bottom, etc. Or in the root, you can use them. And I close it with the mouse tag. The menu, I will not talk about the menu, because you can always work on one menu, and you don't need to worry about the other thing or confuse you with another parameter. You can leave it like this. The last thing in our rc.xml is the applications, and if you notice I have an open tag applications and a closed tag applications, and inside I need to configure the applications. How I configure them, I give you an example. For example, an application of class is star, which meaning all applications when they open, there is a command called decor and no decor, which means we will not have any title bar in any application. Okay, so this is very useful if you want to make more real estate and remove all these title bars. All this space here will be removed. So if you want, you can use that, and of course you have to complement this with a shortcut like Alt F4 or the others to close it and to open it. Or also in Tint2 here, we can right click on any button here. In Tint2 it will close the application. So it's very useful if you want to be a power user on applications, or to use an application and use all the space without going directly with the mouse and closing it. We can use a key binding. It is better to use this one, and this is how you deal with it. For example, if I want the decor for any other, what can I do? I need to put it down. For example, here, an application with class equal yad, I need to have a decor. So although all the applications will have no decor, but if you put it downward, it will call the yad and it will give it a decoration. So this is a way of, you want to make some special cases where you can use these exceptions. The next thing that we will talk about is, what is this class? So the class this is how we identify an application. For example, if I want, let's say, a double commander, which is a file manager, if I want it to run, I want to put it in desktop 1. Focus is yes. This means whenever you run double commander, it will go to desktop 1 and will go on focus. So if you are, let's say, in desktop 3 and you open double commander, it will take you to desktop 1. Not only it will open it in desktop 1, but it will also take you to desktop 1. So for example, how can we get the class for each one? It is a very simple case. What we can do, for example, this is, for example, is Z. Okay, if I want to open Z, let's say I want it in desktop 3, for example. What can I do is, you need to know the class for it. So let's say here, I run something called xprop, and it gives me a small cross here. This cross, I need to put it on the application, on the frame of the application. So I put it and click, and it gives me the information. And you will have two items for the class, xed and capital XED. You have to use the second one, xed. So what you can do here, for example, let me copy here. You can paste this one, and here you press capital XED. So it's very simple now. Whenever I have an application class, if I want to open it, I want to open it, let's say, in desktop 4. So whenever I perform XED or press it in a menu or any shortcut, it will directly go to desktop 4. As simple as that. Of course, you need to reconfigure. This is not the original rc.xml. I'm using a default one. But in general, you can use this one. You reconfigure it and you run it again. And now when you press xed from the key binding, or if you made a key binding for xed or any other thing, it will directly go to desktop 4. Now, if you notice, we are in desktop 1. It will go to desktop 4. The same thing with Firefox. I made a one for Firefox, one for VirtualBox, one for LX terminal. And if you notice here for LX terminal, what I did, I can not only make desktop or make decor on any other, we can also make the size. So here, for example, LX terminal, we can say position. X is -0, so it will start from the top right. And the width is 50%, height is 100, so it will make it will open here. And they did not specify the desktop, so in whichever desktop you are, it will always open in that same desktop. These are very simple. If you want more features, you have to install another application which is called obapps 3. This one will simplify things that you have here in the applications, and I will show you how to install it right now. To install obapps 3, what we have to do is we have to install first some dependencies, and the dependencies are like this. It is also available on the website. You can also copy it and paste it. I already installed these, so there is no problem. So these are the basic dependencies that you need to install on Debian. Of course, there is also for Fedora and Arch on the website, so you can also come to it. The next thing is that you have to go to obapps 3 GitHub page, and this is the GitHub page of obapps. You go to the code and you download the zip file. It will be installed on your downloads folder. So here in the downloads folder, you have now obapps-3 master. I already extracted it here, so this is what you will get. So of course you can install it if you want. You can install it locally. It will be inside user bin if you want. But personally, I don't want to install it. You can double click it on Mint. It will directly run. So let me double click it. So run in terminal. And that's it. That is the obapps 3 menu. Okay, let me remove this one. So this is how it will look like. So if you notice, let me first change these. It's not a user-friendly application, but it is very useful if you don't know the commands. Okay, so if you notice, here it directly accesses the rc.xml and sees if there are some applications present. The ones that I explained before, it's not in the rc.xml. This is the ones that I have created. If you want to look at the rc.xml, let us go for open a new tab. This is Openbox. This is the rc.xml. So if I open the, if I go down, you will see that inside the applications here, they are all commented out, and they give you some tutorial about it, a written tutorial how to use it. So there is nothing between the applications here in order for us to do. So let us keep this one and we'll start with the obapps. So first what we can either target the application by name, by class, by role, by title, or by type. So whichever one you can use is fine. So first, let us say I want to add no decor, like we did with the tutorial. No decor, and of course we need it to have focus. This desktop, I want to remove it. Okay, and here on the class, let me add. This is the second one, is the class. Okay, and let me add, for example, star. If you remember, star means everything. Let me put enter. If you want, let me show you how it is. So for class is star. I don't want any decor. No decor. No decor, and I press apply. That's it. Let us go to rc.xml and see. It tells me now that it has changed. Let me reload it. And we go back also down to check. if you notice now, we have an application class equals star decor no application. Of course, we could have done it manually, but I'm going to show you this op apps how we can use it. And of course, the op apps, it gives you all the information without already searching for it in the manual or reading all of this to see how it will be. The next thing, let's say for example, if I want to add another one, and also here the second one is the class. Let me put, we spoke about Firefox. So Firefox, and it is small letter. Okay, small letter. We want it to be in desktop 2, for example. Okay, decor, maybe I want to have it a decor, also focus on desktop 2, and I click apply. So whenever I go for Firefox, it will be in desktop 2. So what I will do, I will close it. If you want, I put apply, I close it. If you notice here, the file has changed. Okay, reload. We can go down and check it. And you can see now application class equal Firefox, desktop is 2. And of course, if you want to check the class for Firefox, what you have to do is, like we did, xprop, and you press the Firefox, and you can look at the second one. It is Firefox, so we put Firefox. For this one, the navigator is for the name, but we are using the Firefox, the class, so we have to use Firefox here. Let us check it. If I close now Firefox, okay, and I restart, and I press, we are now in desktop 2. Let us go to desktop 1. Let us go to desktop 1. How we can go to desktop 1? By default, this is how we go to desktop 1. Okay. Let us go to desktop 2 to Firefox. I press it. So now you see now it is in, we are now in desktop 2. So this is the usage for op apps 3. Of course, if it is, we touched only on a small portion of it. Now, if you notice, now it is without a decor. You see now, it's now without a decor. If we want to get the decor back, let us put the op apps. Let us put a decor for the op apps. Xprop. Pick this one. So now the class is capital OB apps. Capital OB apps. Okay. Let me quit this one. Let me, here, we need to add, the class is OB apps, okay, and decor is yes, we need a decor for this one. Click apply, close, we closed everything now, reconfigure, I double click it, run in terminal, and now you see it has the decor. So that's it for for the rc.xml. The last thing that we will do is I will give you a demonstration of my setup, how I use Openbox, and we will close for the day. Okay, so this is my customized Openbox. Let me start first with the desktop. I have W bar here. I have nitrogen for the desktop setter. And also for the panel, I have Tint2 with all the features that are utilized with Tint2, like the scripting, like some of the functions on off, etc, etc. So first, let us start with the Autostart. And for me, the Autostart is a simple Autostart. It used to be very complex. Now I simplified it. So we have nitrogen. I have Tint2 also. I included PyCom also. And here, if you, the ones that I use xmod map to map some things. For example, the caps lock, I mapped it to hyper, so I can use the caps lock as a modifier. And also I use escape for one key because I have problem with this key, that's why I use it. And if you notice, I also use W bar. Looking for the menu, this is the one for the menu. It's a simple one. There's not much, only one menu. I'm not using one menu, and the reason is I use also JG menu instead in many cases. If you want to look at it, it is like this. I have a terminal emulator, the text editor and tuner here. I have a monitor if you want to change some of the monitor when I plug in the some things. Virtual machines, it talks about the virtual machines that I am using. These are the three that scripts. If you want to download a video clip or play it, it is directly available here. Flameshot, Voco Screen, Tor browser and Cloud Mail, they are also, I use them a lot. This is the applications that I talked about. The OBA menu, which also is included, I kept it. Conky toggle, I don't like the conky to be available here. I want to consume less RAM. But if you want to use it, I directly use it. I have some things I am caring about, something about the planets, etc. And if I stopped watching it, directly I can toggle it back off. The other thing also is the toggle wireless. The same thing, if I have a wireless and I want to check the wireless that are included in on my system, I can check it directly, toggle wireless on and off. Next we will look at obconf, and for obconf I am using Sparky 5. Sparky 5 is a theme that is on Sparky Linux 5, and this is a dark theme which I like. I took it from there. Now they are using Sparky 6 theme. I don't like this Sparky 6 theme for Openbox on Sparky Linux, so that's why I took this Sparky 5. The other thing for the appearance, if you notice, we have, I don't use a title bar, so this one doesn't make any sense. Also the font, it's better maybe to change it to Ubuntu, but here it's put sans bold. Maybe I will change it later. Windows, move and resize mouse, no change. Desktop, I use 9 desktop. Each one has a name 1 to 9. You can change whatever you feel fit for you. Margins, of course, I kept 6 pixels on the left. That's why I can have the mouse here. Although 6 pixels on the left, I can utilize the mouse. The dock, I don't use the dock. The other thing we'll talk about is the rc.xml. rc.xml, if you notice on the top there, this one, all of these are used in the obconf, so there's no problem with them. These are my key bindings. Of course, I use the H, which is the hyper key, for many reasons, especially for my laptop, because I needed this extra one for the caps lock. Control escape, I'm using it for the close. These are the special buttons that I spoke about. The alt tab. And these are the things that many cases I use. This is the numpad. I always use the numpad for my launching of applications. Like 2 is Firefox, 3 is Telegram, 4 is Terminal, 5, etc., etc. And here I have the tiling. This is the tiling that I use. Control 1 is like the tile left, which is half the screen on the left. Control 2 like this. Control 3, it will give 66%. And tile control 4 will be 33%. So if you want to divide it half, you use control 1, control 2. Or if you want to use 66 by 33, you can use control 3, control 4. Another thing that you can use is, of course, you can use the Zen tile. Here I have it enabled. I can turn it off if I want, and I can enable it directly with one click. Now if I want to make it active, I press a key. Now it is active. So if I press 4 here, it will directly tile. So I can go like this and like this, on this system. And of course, if I have another one, it will tile here, and I can also make the tiling. If I want to go out of the tiling, I press also another key, and now it is off. So let me close these. So this is the importance of Zentile. And also, if I don't need Zentile, I can go for Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, and Control 4. There are many things that I use also, like the Rofi and the other things, but basically these are the things that I use utilize Openbox extensively. These are the things that make my workflow more productive all the time, especially on Openbox. So that's it, guys, and we will be back with another video.